Hi everyone, hope you all doing well. Welcome back to our channel. Now, this is the second video of the entire series that I'm creating for learning KQL from scratch. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the very common operators that you're going to use on a daily basis. Now, for this entire series, I'm going to use Log Analytics Workspace console or Microsoft Sentinel console or Microsoft Defender console. However, with this being said, anything that I'm discussing is fundamentally applicable to Azure Data Explorer as well or Microsoft Fabric. Now, to begin with, make sure you have all the roles assigned so that you can read the respective data. So let's say you're going to use either Log Analytics Workspace console or Microsoft Sentinel console. In this case, make sure you have any of these roles assigned so that you can read data. And similarly, if you're going to use Microsoft Defender console, then make sure that you have either security reader or security operator role assigned. First thing is KQL query editor. I mean, where exactly we are going to type KQL queries. Now, KQL is intuitive and it uses IntelliSense and autocomplete, as well as KQL is case sensitive. Now, what do I mean by this? That let's say I've signed into portal.azure.com and as of now I'm inside my Log Analytics workspace. Here I'll go ahead and type my queries, okay? But the moment I'll type anything, it will start suggesting me the set of options which are available. Now let's say I choose specific table, let's say sign in logs. Then in this case, the moment I'll press enter, you can see I'll start getting recommendations for the set of operators which can be applied. So this is what I mean by saying that KQL uses IntelliSense and autocomplete. However, KQL is also case sensitive. So let's say if I change this to small s, I'll get this particular warning which says the name sign in logs does not refer to any known column, table, variable, or function. Okay. Now this is the console specifically for Log Analytics Workspace. Similarly, you can go ahead and choose Microsoft Sentinel and then click on logs, as well as you can go to Microsoft Defender XDR portal and then click on advanced hunting. Now, when it comes to Azure Data Explorer, the scenario is slightly different because you need to create a URI, fundamentally termed as connection URI, so that you can access the data. So what we see here right now is the default URI which is required, which starts with ade.loganalytics.io. And then for this particular section, you have to populate the resource ID, okay, that you're trying to connect to. So imagine you're signing in to dataexplorer.azure.com for the very first time. You will not get your workspace listed here by default. So you have to add a connection URI. And this is what exactly it is. So let's say for me, I have selected one of the workspace named as Sentinel, which is this one. So I'll click on overview and then I can click on JSON view and I can just copy this resource ID and get it added or appended with ade.loganalytics.io, and this becomes my connection URI. Now, the moment I'll provide this connection URI, it will prompt me to choose an account. If you are already signed in, then you will not get it. But let's say the account that you have signed in that does not have the permission, then you have to choose a different account and get it connected. Once you are connected, you can just run query and you will start getting results on Azure Data Explorer as well. So whatever I'm going to explain fundamentally is applicable to any of these consoles, and you will be able to apply all the operations to any of these consoles. Okay. Now, the very first command with which I would like to get started is get schema. Now, this is the most important command fundamentally for you to understand the schema of the table. But the question comes why someone should be aware about the entire schema of a specific table, or what is actually the logical reasoning behind knowing the schema. Now, this is something which boils down to an idea of applying filters, okay? So let's say I'm trying to access a specific table, which is AAD non-interactive sign-in logs, and where I'm saying time generated should be greater than equal to, let's say, last 10 minutes, okay? Now, I'm getting respective results here because I'm using a valid operator, which is this logical operator, with the respective column. Now let's say I try to apply an operator which is moreover related to usage of strings. Okay, then let's say if I bring my cursor here, what I will get is a kind of a message where it says the operator contains is not defined for the operand type date time. Okay, so date time is what? Basically my time generated column. So you can see it also shows me the data type value. So this is the reason why you should just run get schema if you're not able to figure out, let's say, what operators you're going to use. It will give you that insight that depending upon the column that you're trying to query, what should be the respective logical operators that you should use. I mean, you will be able to relate it. You might use this get schema command in a very initial phase, but once you start practicing this, or once you gain some experience, then you might not need it. Okay, but this is my recommendation to begin with. Now, the very first operator that we are going to discuss is count. Okay, now what is the purpose of count? The purpose of this command is to list the number of rows for a specific output. So let's say you're writing a query and you just want to know the number of count of that particular result. You can just add count at the end and you will get the respective result. So let's say here I'm querying identity info where time generated is more than 30 days. And at the end, I just want the count. So it is giving me this particular result. So let's say if I come here and let me just change this to proper value. And if I say count, you'll see I'll get a count of the number of rows in this particular time frame. So let's say if I now comment this particular line. So in order to comment, you have to add 2/. That's it. This line will be commented and you can see I'm just getting only one result. Maybe, there is some lag. Let's say I'll run the count again. I should get 0. Okay, so the time frame is getting changed. Let me just increase the time frame so that we should get constant results at least. So for last 30 minutes, the count is around 28. And let me just comment this section again. I should get 28 results. Yeah, so you can see over here. Okay, it's showing me 28 result. And with this being said, I can just go ahead and add this field anywhere. I mean, I can apply multiple filters here or different conditions here. And the moment I will add pipe count, it will give me the results of, or it will give me the number of results which are available here. Now, one more thing which I would like to tell you that by default, this console will only show you 1000 results. However, if you want, you can change this field from here. Okay. Now, the next operator that I'm going to talk about is where. I mean the filter operator, the first filter operator per se. So let's say here, let me just remove all this and get started from scratch. Let me just do 30 minutes so that we can run queries quickly. Okay. Now see, I am getting certain results over here. Okay. So wherever applicable, I can just right click here and you see I'm getting these three options. The first one is copy value, then filter for defender ATP. Now the moment I'll do this, you can see there is a filter applied, which basically means where is the keyword that I'm going to use. Then I'm going to type my column name and you can see it is showing me app display name as a string. Then I'm going to use a logical operator and then I'm going to define a value. Now, this is how you're going to apply different filters. And let's say if I click on run, then I will only get results where Windows Defender ATP is available as a resource display name. Okay. I think it's gone. Just give me a minute. Sorry, app name. Now app display name. Yeah, you can see this. It's giving me only the results where app display name contains Windows Defender ATP. Now, if I want, I can add one more condition. So let's say if I go ahead and choose any other. So let's say resource display name is filter for compliance auth server. Then you can see I'm now getting more limited results. However, there are multiple operators that can be used between different conditions. Let's say and. So here I'm saying where app display name contains Windows Defender ATP and resource display name should be compliance sort server. So as of now, we were getting 7 results. Let's see what all we get. Now, one more concept which is moreover related to interacting with the console, and that is, for sure you can click on run, but once you have completed your query, you can also press shift and enter, and then you will get the respective results. So when it comes to where operator, the concept is exceptionally simple. You will define a table name, then you will type pipe where. If you remember, the output of one line, let's say this particular table, acts as an input because I have added pipe. So now I'm saying where column name, some random column name, then some string operator, and then the respective value. Now I can keep on adding conditions and the data will get trimmed down. Okay. Or let's say the data will have more filters applied and we will get more precise results. Now the next one is take. Now this is something again which you might use in very initial phase, or let's say you just want to understand how the data is coming or what type of data is coming, because this take does not have any ordered list kind of outcome defined. Now, what do I mean by this? That let's say if I remove this and run this command, okay, and let me just sort this to the latest entry, it's around 806. Okay, now let's say if I do take 10, let's see what are the results that we are getting. You can see I'm not getting the latest one. It is just randomly picking some records. Let's say the upper limit is 10 and it is showing me the results. However, as I said before, that you can use this for kind of initial data analysis in terms of just understanding what all you are getting, where you have to apply, expand and whatnot. Okay. The next one is top. Now, this is something where it adheres to ordered list, because you will add one more column as, let's say, filter. So let's say I'm typing top 10 and then I'm saying by time generated. So now it will for sure list the latest logs which are available. Okay. Now take can act as top, and let me show you how. Okay. So I'll copy this. I'm not sure why I'm not copying this. Okay. I've copied and I'll paste it here. And here I'm going to remove this and I'm going to type take 10. Okay. Now you can see it is now showing me around 4 a.m. and here it's around 8:20 a.m. But let me just add one line here to make you understand the context. So I'm saying sort by time generated in descending order. And let's now just match the result of these two operators and see what we get. 821, 806, 821, 806. Okay. So you can see if I remove this, it will return some random results, but for all obvious reasons, you're not going to use these two lines. Instead, you will just use top 10 by time generated. So this is the basic difference between take and top. Now the next one is time generated. I mean, for time generated column, I'm going to discuss two different operators, which are ago and between. Okay. So let me remove this second line and I will say where time generated is greater than or equal to. So see, this is logical operator. Okay. However, ago is something where you're going to define the time frame, which can have minute, hour, as well as day. So let's say I can say 2 minutes. If I have to search for last 2 minutes of logs, I'll just type 2M. Now, if I want to search for last 2 hours, I'll just type 2HR, and then I will, let's say for a day, I will type 2D. And this is how you can use multiple values over here, or you can say time value notation over here, and it will keep on increasing the time frame. Now, likewise, I have shown you this ago kind of field. What we can also use is an operator called between. And here I will again say, let's say ago 90 minutes. So I want a result, let's say for a 30 minutes window. And here I will say ago, let's say 60 minutes. Okay. Now I can run this query and I'm getting a respective result for this particular time frame. Unfortunately, it's not available. So let's say in between 90 minutes to 60 minutes, or I can say, let's say 10 minutes. Let's see if we get any result. Yeah, so you can see I'm getting results. Here I can increase this time frame to, let's say, 20. Give me the results for only 10 minutes and you can see it is giving me the respective results. Okay. Now the next one is distinct. Now this operator is something that moreover you will use only to get the unique values for a specific column in a specific result. Okay. So now let me show you what do I mean by this. Let's say I'm working on this table, which is AAD non-interactive user sign-in logs. And I just want to know for how many different applications this kind of log is getting generated. Okay, so I can say distinct app display name. This is the easiest, or let's say the first step for you to understand the purpose of this particular command, which says distinct app display name. And you can see there are around 22 different applications which are generating AAD non-interactive sign-in logs. However, this is something that can be used with multiple conditions. So let's say I want to know summarize count by app display name comma user. Okay. And here I will say, let's say user principal name. Let me increase the time frame to 7 days. So I will get some results which will show me that which user has used which application how many times. Okay, so you can see majority of the workload is for this particular user itself. However, there is one more entry over here. But think about it. I am getting multiple entries for user principal name for only global@conceptswork.com. So here I can say distinct, show me distinct user principal name. So now it will only show me 2 different entries. Now let's talk about the summarize aggregator function fundamentally. And herein I'm going to showcase count, argmax and argminimum. Okay. So the very first thing that I would like to showcase, that let's say I'm running this query. Okay, let me just close. Okay, it's not getting closed. That's fine. I've initiated this particular query, and the moment I'll type pipe and I will type summarize, you can see what all different values I'm getting over here. Now, for all obvious reasons, it's not possible to cover all of them, but I'll try to cover majority of them when we'll talk about aggregator in a lot more detail. But just to begin with, I'm typing summarize and then I'm typing another function or another operator, which is count. And I want to know the count by app display name. Okay, so what this command is doing as of now, it is counting the number of logs as per the display name of an application. So you can see there were around 22 applications. So I'm getting around 22 results. However, the count has been clubbed for each particular application. Okay, so AAD non-interactive user sign-in logs in past 24 hours contains entry for Azure portal around 61. So there are 61 rows for Azure portal in AAD non-interactive sign-in logs. This is the purpose of this particular command. Now, let's say I want to know what is the latest log per application. So then I can type summarize argmax time generated comma star. Now, if you want, you can add certain column names, but I'm adding star as of now so that we should get the complete results. And here I will type app display name. Again, what you see around 22 results, but here I'm getting the latest entry for a specific application type, or let's say app display name. Now, likewise, we are doing for argmax. Similarly, we can apply the same concept for argminimum as well. So let me come back to my browser, and here I can say argmax, or I will change argmax to argminimum. And you can see now I'm getting the first entry per display name in last 24 hours. Okay, so this is how summarize works with count, argmax, and argminimum. The last one that we're going to discuss about is project. Now, project basically means that what all columns you want to be projected here. So let's say if I go here and type project operation name, let's say, and then I will say result signature. Okay. And let's say user display name and user principal name, and let's say app display name. Now you can see I'm only getting these 4 columns listed over here. Now project away will remove a specific column. So let's say I don't want result signature. Now you can see I'm only getting these 3. Project hyphen rename will help you to rename a specific column. Now in this case, you have to type the new name first. Okay. So let's say instead of app display name, what I want is concepts work app as app display name. So now you can see it will get changed. The value of app display name as a column name will get changed to concepts work app. Okay. So these were all very basic common operators that you're going to use on a daily basis while interacting with the data. And as I was saying before, that apart from these common, let's say, operators that you can use, there are n number of different operators which are available, and they all have been divided into specific categories. Likewise, let's say string operator, comparison operators, logical operators, and then you have some set operators, arithmetic operators, and this list just goes on. However, my intent is to make sure that I cover at least those operators that will be useful from security standpoint, or let's say the analysis that you will be doing with the data that we typically capture in Microsoft Sentinel. And I'll try to cover as many examples as possible while showing you the real-time value that's coming out of the data. Okay, so we discussed about basic commands of KQL. In the next video, we are going to talk about string operators. So if you think that this channel is helping you to learn anything new, please feel free to subscribe and share this video with your technical community.